Hey, everybody. Welcome to a segment that we haven't necessarily named yet, but I'm calling it the Dan and Jadel Play Space with special guest Miriam today. So, hi, my name is Dan. On the X platform, you may know me as Bard. And I am so excited to have these two wonderful creators with me. And so what I do, I'm a composer, performer, and educator. I'm also the chief academic officer of the David Z Foundation, where we transform lives through the magic of music. And I recently got to collaborate very closely with Miriam, which is cool. And Jadel and I have been brainstorming something really awesome over the last few weeks, and we're going to show some of what that is during this segment. So Jadel, over to you, and then we'll pass it to Miriam.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I am super excited to be here. I'm excited to be part of this process. I am an avid player of video games, so to connect on that level and to create one ourselves, but also have this like business spin to it on a topic that I learned on X, being the elevator pitch, is just like, how in the world did I get my King's Quest Leisure Suit Larry to match my business elevator pitch? Like, in what world, except for Dan's brain, my brain, and now Miriam's brain, is this actually like coming to life? So happy to be here, and this is very exciting. This is also my first, this is my second live stream, so very good.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's right, because you make your content, right?
Yes, I'm highly edited.
Make and post. Nice. Okay, well, here we go live. Awesome. So over to you, Miriam. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Once again, now, Dan, Jadel, thank you so much for having me in this very creative space. I love these non-scripted, just like live streams. So it's like, I think magic happens and you don't know where it happens from. So I'm super excited to be here today. I'm the founder and CEO of Breshna.io. The big idea behind Breshna is kind of like the Canva for video games. So you're able to unleash the power of no coding and AI technology to create your own bite-sized video game. So if it's like a Super Mario where you're running and catching even numbers and dodging odd numbers, or like a tile matching game where you're matching flags of the country with capitals, it could be education, marketing, social impact, different kinds of games. I got into this space. I'm an economist by academic training. And I actually got into this space 11 years ago through a student project where I made a period game where you're literally catching pads with a pair of undies and you're busting menstrual myths. And that was the first game that,
oh my gosh, I love that.
It opened this whole world of social impact games, unleashing the power of video games for purposes beyond entertainment. And I think the elevator pitch is so exciting to me because I was on the entrepreneur elevator pitch show where they literally on TV, it's very gimmicky, they put you in an elevator and
oh, seriously?
Yeah, like literally, and then you have 60 seconds and you make your pitch, and then the judges, one of them is Mark Randolph, the founder of Netflix, they decide whether they want to call you up to the boardroom or send you down to the ground floor. So it's like, it's really, really fun. Yeah, and everything. And I was on that show and we struck one of the highest valuation deals on the show. So that's seconds was like really epic for me. So we've raised a good seed round. We have investors like Paris Hilton, Randy Zuckerberg.
Oh my gosh.
Judges from Entrepreneur Elevator Pitch Show. So it's been a really cool ride. And on the product itself, on Breshna, which means lightning in the Pashto language, we have 180,000 registered game makers who've made 170,000 video games with more than 2 million gameplays. So I am just so excited to be here and see what magic we can make together.
Now, anybody who's watching, just look at how fast she rattled off those metrics. And that's so important. I'm learning to be able to do that, but also have the personality and the personability, and then the ideas and the adaptability. There's a whole lot going into being a founder. And I'm just really excited that we got kind of a little mini masterclass right now in that.
I had to just jump in. I have to,
go ahead, Jadel, go.
As soon as you said like Canva, I was just like, oh, I get it. Like it's the Canva video games, and I am obsessed with Canva. It is incredibly simple, but it lets you be so creative without any like blocks in your way. Yeah,
exactly. And Melanie Perkins, like, to imagine that she started this in her university and it's now a $40 billion valued company. Like the valuation of Canva is $40 billion. And it's so wild because one of the earliest investors of Canva just joined our cap table. So
Wow.
I'm
Oh,
hyped up. Like,
whoa.
this is the
Awesome.
world's
Yeah.
largest. Melanie is such a
Wow.
role model.
Yeah, this is so cool. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of housekeeping because I want people to be able to join in this conversation. So if you're seeing this on X streaming, we have a couple viewers now, which is great. Please share it out. Go ahead and share it out. You don't have to. I'm not going to judge you if you don't. I'm not going to even know. But it's helpful because I think we're going to be talking about a lot of things and tackling a lot of problems that maybe people don't typically talk about or think everybody else has figured out, but they don't, and they're ashamed of that, because that's how I used to think as recent as 6 months ago, when I was like, well, everybody else knows what they're doing, I guess I'll just figure it out. The truth is nobody knows what they're doing in the founder world. No. But if we build relationships and we build our chops for adaptability and pivoting and listening to ideas, and then being able to run with them and then just hit go, that's where we're going to see some magic happening. So here's how you can join us. There's 2 different ways, really, how you can interact with this live stream right now, and one way you can interact with it after. I'm sharing the screen from Chatmosa, and I don't want to be on top. There we go. Let's look here. So this, if you go to the listening lounge, that's what we're calling this Chatmosa right now, and it is if you go to chatmosa.com, that's one way to get there, or you can just go to the QR code that is in the corner over there, and it'll take you right to this listening lounge where you can see Miriam's face. You can see a couple people that were on this show this morning. What we're doing is we're keeping this, I think of it like the hallways of the internet. So we open this hallway door on Mondays, and we have 5 different live streaming shows in the morning. And then this is kind of within that, this is a special episode where we're talking about the game that Jadel and I are developing, and so excited to have Miriam joining us for this stream. And then they kind of live here. So I just want to show what you can do in Chatmosa. It connects Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Google, Microsoft, and TikTok. And you can log in through any of those secure APIs. So like here, here's my little Singling profile. I'm signed in through X. Hosting, I'm signed in actually through LinkedIn. We can go to Miriam's profile and we can just say, oh, I want to visit her LinkedIn page. And then it just pops open in a new window, and we can see how amazing Miriam is. And we can, connect with her. 16,000 followers on LinkedIn. Oh my gosh. And she's a TEDx speaker. How cool. We get to learn about the people just kind of as we're listening to them speak. I can do the same thing with Jadel. I can go to Jadel where she's logged in through Google, and I can just write her a direct message, and it goes into the back chats over here on Chatmosa, and I can be like, yo, Jodel, sup? I maybe want to speak more professionally, but Jadel and I are pretty off the cuff. So that's the magic of this platform, where you can meet in the hallways of the internet. And then, you can we can put these things up here. So right now I've got all these lovely resources. This was from this morning. That's a Coral piece that I wrote. This is what's happening right now. Look at that. It's the listening lounge, because you can come here in Chatmosa. You can type into the chat, and you can watch the show broadcast right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add Breshna.io to our treasure trove. And Jadel, is there anything you would like me to add for you in our little treasure trove of the internet's hallway?
Yeah, I mean, I always would love my YouTube channel to be up in any Jumbotron anywhere.
Yes. I was hoping you would
Yes,
ask for
please.
that. So yeah, I'll just put it here. It's literally called Jumbotron. Then I'll say next. And then look, there's a beautiful preview of Breshna.io that is now here, and it'll live here until Friday, and then it'll just be kind of archived, but
The
you can still
logo,
find it.
your whole thing, it's so beautiful. I just love it.
It is.
Really well done. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
So what is your handle on YouTube?
Jodel Jordan. I kept it super simple across the board.
So nice.
I love that.
Okay, I'm gonna just type that in, and look, you're the first one that popped up. So look at that. And so, oh look, I'm subscribed to you. Ha! Yay! All right, so let me just put this in the Jumbotron as well. And then we'll get back to our conversation and actually, dive into a little bit what we're talking about. I do love that you brought up Canva, because that is what we designed. Part of our, it's where we're doing our kind of like log for this whole collaboration. Let's see, did I do that right? Oh, I think I did not. I'll fix that in a second. Let me. There we go. Okay, that's I'll fix that in just a moment. I want to get it started on the actual game conversation though. So, Jadelle, can I pass the mic to you, and can you just give me give our lovely viewers an overview of what this idea is and what we're hoping to have the user experience be?
Yes. Okay. So Dan and I connected over, he was trying to teach me how to write some code, and that is definitely not in my wheelhouse. But where we really connected was our love of Sierra games and the old school video games like King's Quest, Space Quest, Leisure Suit Larry even. And so the other thing so we were talking about maybe building one of these, but we wanted it to have like a real world purpose. And so one of the things that was really near and dear to my heart is the elevator pitch. And so what we came up with was a way for this video game that you work your way through this set of puzzles, and there's 4 parts to an elevator. And so there's a broken elevator in the room. You're going to be solving puzzles, and each puzzle will fix part of the elevator, but it will also teach you a part of your elevator pitch, so that at the end you have a fully formed elevator pitch. You have 60 seconds in your freshly built elevator, and you have to be able to say your elevator pitch by the time it gets to the top. And so it's a really fun way to integrate like gaming and education in something that is short and sweet, something that really resonates to the people on X, because everything on X is super short and sweet. And so, yeah, we're just hitting, I think, a couple of the right notes and bringing 2 kind of concepts together and making it more fun, that, kind of showing that work can be fun. And if we can gamify something like this, maybe there's other things that we can gamify, and you can start building out like a media kit. And your media kit might be gamified on a few things, but it'll get those creative juices flowing. And that's where you're going to find like a lot of success and a lot of really interesting nuggets about yourself, and be able to showcase it in the best, most fulsome way. So I think that sums it up, Dan.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I think you did a great job. And just the problem that I think we're really tackling with this. Oh, hang on, I got to show the shirt I'm wearing. Look at that. This is, got some original Mario Brothers going on here. The problem we're really tackling through this gamification is the creation of it, because there are so many opportunities, at least we know on X, on LinkedIn, on a lot of different places. Like the Great American Speak Off is a competition I've been part of before and made it through various rounds and stuff. There's a lot of opportunities to deliver these pitches, but this is kind of a low stakes practice sort of brand, which is totally on brand for me. I think low stakes practice leads to high stakes reward, because you just do things better with more automaticity. And if you're actually developing the pitch with some guidance and with the use of today's best technology to really dig in and say what you mean to say in the most effective and emotionally gripping way possible, that's going to serve you well in getting into these spaces where, okay, I have an opportunity. Then it just becomes, the practice then becomes delivery, right? We're not practicing how to make an elevator pitch by making somebody who is running a pitch space go back to square one of like, okay, you need to figure out a problem. Like Alex Damsker, I'm going to give her a shout out right now, because she has something that is just ingrained in my brain. Don't be a solution in search of a problem. You got to solve a problem. And so often we see these solutions in search of problems, like, well, I know a little bit about this, and this could be a problem from my perception. We haven't built the background information yet. So this game, this experience, which will show a couple of little snippets of a prototype. We're developing it in a way that not only we can generate a pitch with partnering with the program. Essentially, it's all driven by the user. It's not going to just be like, hey, you should pitch inventing a new sponge. Like, what? No, I want to pitch this. So we're using what is I'll put these guys up here in the Jumbotron as well. Pixio and my AI tutor. I swear by. It's the only two AI companies that I really need because they have partnerships with everybody else. And that's the way to go. Like they have always the newest, freshest things that are available to all of their users. And so in the Wednesday night in Idea to Impact class that they're doing in conjunction and collaboration with Innovators Think Tank, this is how Jadel and I just kind of found some time to do this, because I've already staked the time in and the investment of my time Wednesday nights and sometimes Thursday mornings to produce something. So I was like, well, let me name that something and actually do it. Like hit the go button and stop saying I'm going to do things. So that's actually, one of the reasons that my co-host and I, Mojo, we co-host this morning show called The Now Show. That's why we started calling it The Now Show, because we just got to do the things now, not keep adding lists of, okay, I'll come back to this. Like I often spend my day with so many transitions of I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And I spend, maybe 45 minutes writing a list of things to do. I should just do things, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead.
You get more data, right? You get more information.
Exactly.
You can make different choices. Your more paths open up for you. So yeah, actually taking action is so huge.
Yeah. Miriam, I saw you nodding a lot. Can I bring you up here for a response?
Yeah, it's so crazy, right? Dan, because as a founder, when you're building a product, like one of the things that really resonates with me is the LinkedIn founder said, if you're not ashamed of your first version, you've launched too late. Right. And
yes.
our MVP, we launched it like the MVP version of Breshna. Breshna was incorporated in April, and we had an MVP live in May. Within a month, we just had it out, right? And everything. And I've always believed in this power of building in public, because I think building in public gives you a level of accountability and transparency, which is just so powerful. And Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams' husband always talks about this idea of minimum viable community, even before you have a minimum viable product. Because again, it's like product, like you can build it, whatever. Now, like AI can build things in like 5 minutes. But the actual fact of the matter is, where's your community? Who are you talking to? How do you have a pulse? Your hand on the pulse. And I think that is just something so cool. And what you guys are doing right here is literally the crux of that, building in public. And it doesn't matter if, like, I mean, when I started, I used to have like 100 followers on Twitter, and I'd just be like, like tweeting, and I'd be like, I am now today working on this things to do list and everything. And I would just get on investor calls. I got on 219 investor calls to get 29 yeses. It's a 10% yes rate, right? Like we raised $2.7 million, 219 calls, 29 yeses. And at the beginning, it was all no, 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 no. But no's are often not nows. And what people are looking for is that traction, right? And everything. So what I would just do is like, that's okay. You can say, no, can I add you to my investor update list? I didn't have any investors, but I was sending a monthly investor update list and everything. And that's exactly that build in public angle, where people are like, oh, they're going to steal your idea. No one is stealing your idea. The thing that sets you apart is your execution. If you've had a shower, you've had an idea. Like there are so many ideas.
I'm quoting you on that. I'm quoting you on that. Okay. All right. So if
trying to steal ideas, it's like it's the execution that sets you apart.
All right, you got to come back up, Jadel, and cover me, because I'm quoting that. If you've had a shower, you've had an idea.
It's so true. I've heard that like ideas are a dime a dozen. Everybody's got them. I have a video about should you share your ideas and like the feelings behind why you might not want to. But it's really, I think that collaboration, I think 2025 has really got this like collaboration vibe to it as well. So yeah, that is an amazing quote.
Yeah, I love it. So if you are seeing this and want to participate, you can quote in the live chat. You can also come to Chatmosa, where you see the lovely Jodelle is now taking over the Jumbotron. It wouldn't let me share your channel, but it let me share the before and after video. So I think it's one of the first videos that I watched. I'm like, I remember that one. So let's turn off the sharing for now. I would love to have people come to Chatmosa, but I'd love to just do a little chit chat while I get our assets up, and just to kind of showcase what we've been working on. Jadel, I'm not going to share our secret document, but I think we should talk about some of the things on our secret document, because those are pretty cool. Just in the vein of what we were just saying, like, the more we share, the more we can build that community. And Miriam, I love that. So I guess what I want to ask you, Jadel, is what excites you about this project the most?
So I think like I'm a really big gamer. It's been a huge part of my life, my whole entire life. My husband and I still raid. We do mythic raiding in World of Warcraft.
I
Like
just learned about raiding.
yeah, I've been a gamer my whole life through and through. And so to be able, and I remember it starting with my mom on that old, computer, King's Quest, and trying to get that, like, put in the right words. So he would pick up the magic beans and then plant it. And you have to walk up the beanstalk and not fall off. And just that game just was left such a big impression on me. Same with like Riven and Mist. Those games were really impactful. So I really love that puzzle aspect to gaming. And I think this is where like Leisure Suit Larry started coming in for me as well, because there were so many puzzles and it was just really got you thinking, and it was so much fun. And I think that's what probably excites me the most, is building a video game, because it's something I've been so passionate about, and now I get to actually like do behind the scenes and build one. I also think incorporating some kind of business vibe to it, because at the end of the day, I own and operate businesses. I have 7 franchise restaurants. And so creating something that touches on leadership, that touches on building your skill set, that builds that soft skills, even though you think you might not need them. I made a video about the elevator pitch. I'd never even heard of an elevator pitch until I got onto X. Just because I own my own businesses doesn't mean I went to school for business. I'm not business savvy textbook wise. So an elevator pitch to me was brand new information. And I can see the value of it when I'm networking now with other business owners. I could knock their socks off, but I just never had that tool. I didn't even know, like my videos, I didn't even know that I needed to have a voice. And so I think we're going to be educating people. And I'm so freaking excited about this whole thing. I'm excited to build, I want them to find like a little button in a couch cushion that unlocks whatever. And yeah, I'm excited for the whole process.
Yeah. Well, actually, let me pass it to you, Miriam. And can you, because I posted actually your elevator pitch into the Chatmosa. And if you're just joining us, you can go to the listening lounge and check out the live stream. You can also see some of the goodies we're putting up while I'm sharing our little logo that we designed in chat. So can you talk about what is an elevator pitch, just in case that is the first time somebody's hearing it? I like to be beginner friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think an elevator pitch, as the name implies, is this idea that you get in an elevator with someone that you really want to sell to, get money from, whatever it is. It's your target audience, and you have the time between when that elevator door closes to when the elevator doors open up to pitch them your idea, right? So the thing with an elevator pitch is, like, usually they're around 60 seconds, sometimes they're 120 seconds. That's a long elevator ride. But often the big idea is to catch the person's attention. And when people think about elevator pitches, they're like, that's such little time. Like, that's the first reaction you always have, right? You're like, 60 seconds, what am I going to say in it? I can guarantee you, as someone who knows her elevator pitch in by heart, can like literally say it out in her sleep. 60 seconds is such a long time.
It
And you
is. Yeah.
yeah, it's wild how much information you can pack in 60 seconds. And I think what's really, really interesting is the most important part of an elevator pitch is actually the silent pauses. If you program your pauses, like the silence, like those 2 seconds, 5 seconds of knowing when to pause, of A B testing, am I going to call it the Canva for video games, or am I going to call it the TikTok for video games? Those kinds of things. I mean, when am I going to Am I going to start with a hook, or am I going to start with I am Mariam Nusrat, or am I going to start with, did you know that you can make a video game in 15 minutes? Hi, I'm Mariam, and I'm transforming how video games industries, how games are created. So it's really about having those little pieces down. And the purpose of the elevator pitch is not to get you to check. That's the other thing, right? Like, people are like, oh, if I just pitch in the elevator, I mean, this is not Hollywood, right? No one's going to pull out their checkbook and write the check right there. The purpose is to get a follow up conversation, is to be memorable, and is to be able to say, so that the other person says, you know what, I want to learn more. So 60 seconds is just what you need to plant, so that the other person leaves curious, leaves joyful, whatever emotion you want to inspire in them, but is tempted to have a follow-up conversation with you. So that's an elevator pitch for me.
All right.
Yeah. I think you just made such a great point there, because I think you're right. I think sometimes the people think the purpose of the elevator pitch is to make the sale, and that puts a lot of pressure on it. And so that's why I think they feel like they want to fill up that space and that time. But I think it was so interesting what you said, that you just want to create that spark of curiosity that they want to talk to you again at some point. And that kind of alleviates some of that pressure, that it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to have all the information in it. You just want to like tickle their fancy.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and usually I feel like a lot of people make it about their product and technicalities, and just like you're saying, like I hear so many people, like AI, especially founders, that are so obsessed with their AI technology that they're like, this, or Web3, this, and blockchain, this. The user does not give a shit. I mean, they do not care. Like, when we're talking, when you build on cloud, no one cares whether you are on AWS or Azure or IBM. That's under the hood, right? They're like, how are you solving my problem? So I would almost leave all of that stuff out of your elevator pitch, unless it becomes a technical conversation, rather than being like, I'm building an LLM model for or I'm building a layer one infrastructure on this particular chain for this particular. Forget all of that. Going back to what Dan said, the problem, and how are you solving the problem, and why are you the right person for it?
Exactly. What's your competitive advantage? And so if you can't do an elevator pitch as a caveman, you should keep rewriting it. So you need to be able to say, Uga Chuga, you want ha. And then Uga Chuga, me have ha. And here's why you need the ha. And then want to talk later at the bar? So that's
done.
There was my 7-second elevator pitch as a caveman. You don't even know what I was selling, but maybe let's meet later. There is a seminar I went to at the ASCAP Expo back in 2011. It was the first film composition seminar I ever went to. And Ron Jones, super big hero of mine, he wrote a lot. He's done a lot of film music, but he's probably most popular, and he's got a huge big band down in LA. He's probably most popular for composing the Family Guy theme song. So he has a method called Compose Yourself, where he says 50% of your success in the music industry is going to be your a culmination and a compilation of your skills, your connections, your experiences, all the things you know about music theory, all the things that you know about whatever. The other 50%, and probably more, is going to be who you are as a person. So compose yourself first, and that was the big takeaway, is that we really have to turn a mirror onto if we are just kind of foaming at the mouth and randomly speaking during an elevator pitch, we didn't understand the assignment. So we need to go back and do our homework and, just check it out. So I did want to show, we have right here, here's our design and the logo that we did. It's so on brand for this conversation too. Like, look at all the purples and
so beautiful.
Isn't it great? Yeah. And so this,
congratulations.
Thank you. It feels good, right, Jadelle? Like it felt really good. And this was all made in the DMs of X over like a Friday afternoon. As I was running, we were just going back and forth, and then I would stop and look at something. I'm like, oh, what if we did, added the elevator instead of the eye and stuff like that. And then Jadelle was just like crushing it on Canva. And this was done in Canva. But now I super love this brand.
Me too.
So let me stop sharing for a second. I do want to show a couple of the the sneak peeks of our design for the rooms, because essentially what we're building is escape rooms. And once we got into the idea of an escape room that, like a Sierra game, like I was a Sierra nut too. I was actually just talking to my dad about this, and he's like, "I want in." I'm like, "I'll talk to Jadel." You know? That playability of a Sierra game where you're using icons or command line or something like that, and you're exploring a room and you're solving the puzzles. So we've built a couple of rooms, but as you're doing this, you're also going to have a couple of red herrings. So that's, symbolically, in an escape room, that's going to be, those are the stumbling blocks that, like, did you really need to spend that much time looking for the rubber band? Like, it does nothing. Why didn't you do that? So you're kind of getting that gamification of the creative process for a pitch. And it's going to make you keep asking yourself, is this really important? Or is this just a red herring that I'm giving to somebody and asking for their money, where maybe I'm not even the right person for this opportunity? So it may be just that first step before a pitch is going to be, before even constructing a pitch, is going to be discernment of what do you need? What will move your idea forward? And for me as a creator, I've kind of found it in the last couple of weeks. I've been working on it for 6 months. I've been going from consumer to creator. That's been the journey. But this project with Jadel just really sparked for me. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to mix in live streaming. I'm going to mix in this nerdy Sierra game, walkthrough. I'm going to mix in what I want to do in creating pitches and in creating ideas and sharing ideas, which is being clear, concise, professional, and poignant. They're impactful. So, really managing that energy versus impact, and knowing when I should maybe reserve some energy to be more impactful somewhere else. I think there's that great discernment that can really come into it. So I want to pass the mic back to one of you while I'm getting these other pictures up to show the good people.
I want to share a quick stat. I don't know if you guys have heard it. And Jadel, I feel like you're probably going to resonate with this one. So, I think the games industry as a whole, and this is where we're talking to types of games, especially puzzle games, which is why I'm so excited about what you guys are doing, is the gaming industry is extremely obsessed right now with AR, VR, AAA games, very high end of the spectrum. But the funny fact, the thing that just blows my mind is 86% of Gen Z is playing mobile games, puzzle games, and the average mobile game player is a 36-year-old woman.
Oh, that
really?
The average mobile game player in the US is a 36-year-old woman, often playing something like Candy Crush on the metro, and no one is speaking to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Whoa.
it's so insane that women, especially when it comes to puzzle games and these hyper casual games, are playing games 5 times. They're spending 5 times more time playing these games than men. And I think that is such a stereotype where we imagine that 22-year-old in the basement playing Call of Duty for 7 hours, surrounded by pizza boxes. It's like we just have such a stereotypical view of a gamer. And I just think that games cut across so many generations, they cut across so many languages. They're a universal language. And it's just so powerful to me, that, puzzle games are still one of the most, common and liked genre of games.
Yeah, I think it doesn't surprise me. The only time I've spent money on any mobile app is to buy a new escape the room game, because they're the ones I have to pay for. Yeah, and I've done them all. I can't find any more. So,
well, that's what we're making one.
Yeah, and then you can pay for your own. It's like I do really believe that the buying power of a millennial woman is so high, and that's why at least for us, like, we're working with brands, whether it's a Sephora game, catch all the lip glosses, the colors of the lip glosses that you're excited about, catch the fragrances that you want to have, I mean, for on your Christmas wish list or something. Dodge everything else. This idea of games for engaging your audience, cutting through the noise, whether it's to train them on elevator pitches. And I'm just so excited because I'm already imagining in your rooms, in your escape rooms, those little tiny puzzles. We could have them built on Brushna, and then you would just have like a little game where you learn all the terminologies, or you do a quick trivia, or you do a quick run and catch game where you're
Mm-hmm.
catching all of the best practices for pitching and stuff like that. And it would just be so cool. So I am sorry that I'm talking so much, but I
No,
am
this
just
is this is why we invited you, because we're really in this ideation phase, and this is such a good time to have you enter the conversation. Because as soon as you talked to me about it, I immediately called Jadelle. I'm like, hey, what about this? And that's how really amazing things happen. You build and build and build. We were just talking to our daughter a few weeks ago about like this yes and mentality of collaborating, where you could just keep saying yes and yes and yes and you come from this very affirming place that if you find more often than not that you keep getting more and more excited, like yes, and this and this and this and this, and then the things that don't belong there tend to fall away if you really lean into the relationship and lean into continually going back to that discernment of like, is this where we want this to head? It's when we kind of lose sight of what the end game is that we start falling apart and falling to pieces, and that's where it's kind of the slippery slope. So I do want to show, I put in chat Mosa if you would like to join us there. This is our first picture, it's slide number 12 in our slideshow, and this was our first prototype that we created, and we just generated this within Pixio, and I'm going to put them up by the end of the space. Wait, why am I so big here? There we go. So that is our first little mock-up of an escape room that is going to have this interactive avatar that you can go around and look for the clues. There's an Apple IIgs computer that probably plays Word Munchers and Oregon Trail on it.
Yep.
And that's where Breshna, Jadelle and I were just talking yesterday, like that could be like you click on that and maybe that's a game that you have to win on Breshna that to get the clue or something like that, or whatever, or it could be a red herring, like, oh, remember Word Munchers, man?
I know. Let me jump in 1 second,
Yeah, go
because
for
I
it.
just before we get too far down that, I also think there's this gamifying it idea. I think
Mhm.
there's a big piece that we're leaving out, and that's achievements and achievement hunting and
Yes.
collecting things. I love achievements, and I love collecting whatever pets on World of Warcraft. I mean, half the reason I play World of Warcraft is to just get more achievements. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I just love that feeling of achieving something. So I think if we build in some secret like achievement points,
Ooh, yeah.
yes. And
Well,
so
and
even
then,
if they do a red herring, it still counts towards their achievement points because they found like an Easter egg or whatever in the game.
oh my gosh, I love that, because then that can kind of add into, there's our picture again, that can add into a consumer and creator economy within that community of you can trade for goods and services within this elevator pitch community. I don't know, that's a really cool idea.
You could
Miriam, what do
collect
you think? Oh, go ahead, Jadelle.
I was just gonna say you could collect like different rooms or like different skins for the room. So maybe it's got like a Leisure Suit Larry vibe, but then maybe it's like the 90s. So we've got like leopard print everywhere. Or maybe it goes back
Oh,
to the
that's the next
80s
picture.
and it's like neon. Yeah. So maybe there's just different skins. So you can still collect things and it still kind of changes up the game. And maybe when you go onto that Apple computer, Miriam has like different games in there and you just collect different games that you can
I
actually
love
mini
it.
games that you can play.
See, okay, Miriam, I'm gonna kick it back to you while I'm putting in the other picture, which has leopard print, by the way, and it's also on brand with this like pink and purple lighting. What are your thoughts? So, like, just
Yeah, it's so crazy, the power of, and I mean, like, one thing, right? Like, I mean, I feel like in the gaming industry, like this difference between gamification and an actual video game, right?
mhm,
So
yeah,
gamification is the application of video game elements to things that are not a video game, right? So if you make an e-learning course and you add badges to it or something, or you add a leaderboard to it, that is the gamification of that. Like Fitbit gamified health, right? Because it made it like goal oriented and stuff like that. But then obviously
mhm,
within the video games, these different aspects. Like, I mean, it's a toolkit. Like, you have your story, you have your leaderboards, you have all of these collection. And I think collecting things is just such a big part of that dopamine effect, that achievement that you're getting as you go along. And it reminded me of this one video game we made with an international development agency, and it was to build reproductive health information in Nepal. Now, Nepalese culture, pet goats are very, like, they all have, I mean, most households will have their own pet goats, and they dress these goats. So they'll put a sweater on them, they'll put a necklace on them. These goats just like, they're like blinged out and everything. So what we did in this game was that you were playing these mini games, like you're learning about menstrual health, you're learning about, safe sex practices, you're learning about family planning methods, all of that. But as you went along, as you did each of these different levels, you would unlock coins for the goat store. And then you would go into the goat store and you would buy your pet goat all of this, like these clothes and these beads and these hats and these shoes and all of that. And it's like, it's all, and
Oh
I think
wow.
So
just,
cool.
it was wild. I mean, just how popular
Yeah.
that one portion of the game was, right? And everything, like apart from everything else we did. So, I mean, Jadel, to your point, this achievements part might just be the most strongest part of the whole
That's
game
so
design.
interesting.
Because, yeah, because I mean, to us, we just never realized slapping a goat store in there. Or right now, we're doing a game on endometriosis, which is 1 in 10 women have endometriosis. It's one of the most misdiagnosed women's diseases. We're doing it with George Mason University, and there it's almost like a Tamagotchi pet approach.
Mm.
You
Oh
have
my God.
I
so
remember those.
exactly. And you have this undercover cat who's your pet, and that undercover cat is like an undercover activist for women's reproductive health, but then is also just pretending to be just like a normal pet. But then this cat, he goes into his basement, that's where he feeds on data. So
Mm.
your whole goal is to give him more data around symptoms, around tracking how you're feeling, so pain, all of that. And
Oh
then you're
wow.
like tracking all your symptoms, and he's feeding on the data, so you get these streaks. And again, people are obsessed with the idea of making sure, so it's a Tamagotchi pet, right? And everything, his happiness meter goes up, his eating meter goes up as you feed him more data. And so survey rates, usually surveys are like, I mean, they have incompletion, I mean, people don't complete surveys. But in this particular game, women are logging their symptoms and everything on a daily basis, not just because it becomes a really cool tool that they can take to their doctor, but also because then their pet is eating, his data meter is just like he's munching on the data meter.
It's
So I think collectibles, all of this long story to say, collectibles and achievements are such a golden thread.
intrinsic
Totally.
motivation for self-care. I mean, there it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was a teacher for years. I taught special ed for 8 years, 4 in high school and 4 as a sub. And one of the things that was constantly in the teacher realm was self-care. Like, it came across as, and I hopefully nobody takes offense to this, like from a lot of admin and well-intentioned people, it's coming out like, you do your self-care, do your self-care, do your self-care. Here's another initiative to make you do your self-care. And it was stressful. So, what I really needed was just a moment. So, when we have that intrinsic motivation, something that's changing, that's getting you to realize I have the power to track data within myself, and you're training to do that through a game. And I think, Jadel, like that's a huge revelation for what we're trying to do, because we're trying to build the confidence of somebody to be able to get into that elevator. And it can happen so often that even I've let it happen before myself at different conferences or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Sinbad, and I was like right next to him in the Starbucks at NAM, and then I'm like, he doesn't want to talk to me.
Oh no. Yeah.
And like,
Totally.
who knows, Sinbad,
Yeah.
if you're listening, I would have talked to you. I was just shy.
Yeah, there's definitely some, especially if we can tie like a sound into it that is, that reward. So gets that dopamine hit. So they do feel that confident. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's there's something so
well, that's
visceral and like
Pavlovian right there.
enticing about it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I do, before we run out of time, I want to make sure we show on the large screen this. So there's our little logo again, but this is our second picture. This is like the upscale. So if you look at, this is our Sierra version, and which I really am obsessed with this. Then there's this one. So what we want to build actually is like we were kind of hinting at later, but or before, hinting at later. That's an interesting phrase.
You can see the
Oh,
future.
we can see the future. Yeah, I see this game is on fire. So what we were hinting at before is that we really want it to be user-led. So part of what I'm building right now in with the new AI Tutor API is a escape room generator, where you can do just that. You can say, what are the parameters that I want my escape room to be? And then you can actually, as a user, eventually, this is like phase 2 probably, but you as a user, you would be able to create an escape room for a family reunion, or for a class, or for a sports team. And then you can just get it to them, and then you get people excited. So Miriam, I wanted to actually have you just mention a little bit about our recent collaboration with the Washington Capitals. And kind of just, that was such a cool opportunity. So what was that like? Kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, inspiring, Dan, and I think like Jadel, Dan and I, and I'm sure you felt this Dan magic, which is why you're probably working together like this. I mean, partnerships, like when you're a founder, you talk to so many people, and there's always a lot of talk, planning. And Dan and I, I mean, he's been like, I mean, we were engaging on LinkedIn, and then he was like, hey, I think, we're doing this little partnership with the Washington Capitals. We're making them a music video, and just wanted to bring that up to you. And I was like, Dan, wouldn't it be wild if we actually made these bite-sized video games, where
Mhm.
then we could put those video games, for instance, on a jumbotron halftime, right, and everything. And then if you get a score of 100, you get a diet coke off at the concession stand or something, whatever, you get chips, you whatever it is. So it's like this fan engagement, this idea of unleashing the power of bite-sized, completely branded video games, for fan engagement, for being able to raise awareness, and for being able to engage with your community and everything. And it was so wild because I think Dan gave us, he was like, yeah, let's do it and everything. And what was it, Dan? I think it was like it was like Tuesday, and the meeting was on a Thursday or something. And we cobbled together 4 video games within the span of, like, I think 8 hours or something, where I sent them all back to Dan. And these are completely Capitals branded. So their logo, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. It had this
Mhm.
eagle that Dan had created on with the students that were making the music. And I just feel like that was something that was such a doer attitude, where it was like, rather than be like, oh, we could do this and we could do this, it was just so much like, let's go do it. Like, I mean, let's just make the games and then
That's
we'll figure it out, right, and everything. It's like, and then I can send you that, like, I mean, just the kind of the snippets of the games. But I mean, if you want to share it. But
I'll
I
put it.
think,
Yeah, I'll put it. Oh yeah. Is that what you put in the chat?
yeah,
Perfect.
that's what I put
I'll
in the
put that.
chat,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
in case it's. And I think,
sorry. I went to Jadel too fast because I was gonna ask Jadel next, but sorry. Keep going.
no, just that, just like this power of being able to make a video game without any coding, no design skills, which is fully branded to the Capitals, to their logos, to their players, and be able to engage with these communities. I think one of the biggest reasons video games aren't being used for purposes beyond entertainment is because they're so expensive to make, and it takes such a long time. But the technology that
Mhm.
we have on hand right now, you guys are making an entire escape room game, and there's no like 25% dev team involved. You're just like literally doing it
Just
week
do
by
it.
week. Yeah, just do it. So I think that's really powerful.
Well, it would
Yeah.
be nice, like as a business owner, I could see how I like if I could do this for like brand it, present it to my management team, have it at one of our manager meetings where there's anywhere between 7 and 12 people usually there. I also have a supervisor summit where I have about 30 supervisors that I have in a room, and I'm, educating them, teaching them, doing a PowerPoint presentation, trying to do icebreaker games. But imagine if I had a video game that I had created that was branded with my company brand. And, the only thing I can think of is that game where they select A, B, C, or D, and it's a quiz and then they
Right.
enter it on their phones.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not branded. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, so it would be so amazing to be
Yeah,
able to
then
have
we were
it as
talking
easy as Canva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly, and we were talking about it, Jadel, and I wonder if you can actually open that post up just so Jadel can see some of these
Yeah.
games. But I was
Here. Go ahead.
one of the things I was talking to Dan about, Jadel, was even restaurants, right? Like wait time is one of the things. Like you've placed your order, now you're just waiting for the order to show up. You have, I mean, sometimes like, you know, you're just like, hey, I just wish I could do something. And what if you could play a quick video game on like, these are the top 5 new menu items that we've just introduced. And once you play it, like, you know, I mean, if you get a score of 100, you get a dessert free or something. Or on your next order, next time you come back, you get like a 5% off. I just think there's something about earning it that just is so, so powerful.
This is
Absolutely.
I own restaurants. I own quick service restaurants. So I can, and we actually created these little like cards, probably about 20 of them with about 5 questions on each. I have the answers on the back of the card, and the intent is for like the supervisors to do it with the team members just for retraining and to help get more training throughout the restaurant because there's so many moving parts. But imagine if it was gamified and and they won something on the back end, like, oh, and then we could change the questions around. I mean, I just can see so many applications for this. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
There's so many ideas.
No, this is why we're doing a live stream right now, right? Because I was gonna say that's the energy that Miriam was describing. That's what I felt with you too when we were just like, let's do it. Let's just you know, let's not talk about doing it. Let's just do it. So I think that would be anything, if anything, you know, the quotable quote from this particular live stream is to just, you know, get out of your own way and make some things happen. Take the next right step. And then you'll have a whole new set of opportunities that opens up to you because you moved. You know, if we try and stay still, or if we try, you know, out of hesitation, convince ourselves, you know, we're not ready to take that next step. Well, there goes that shot. You know, so just start. I love it. So let me, in our last 3 minutes, I want to be very cognizant of time because I know we all have things to get to in the next as the next hour strikes. But if you come and join us in the Chatmosa, which the QR code is still right there, or if you go to chatmosa.com and you can just put, you know, look for the giant pear. I did want to do a shout out to the pear community. And you know, that's who is sponsoring this show and the morning show that we have. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. If you go to chatmosa.com and then also to Chatmosa, I mean, it's kind of a magical platform, this hallway of the internet that we are meeting in. But let me just show you. This is what was created by Breshna and Miriam's team and a class of 4th graders in Washington, D.C. So
Cool.
they designed, here, let's see if I can you hear the music? We got the branding. Could you guys hear the music?
Oh, yes.
Okay, it's really loud, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah.
It's super exciting.
Great.
But I'll play through the end. But that eagle was designed by the 4th graders, and that's going to be like, you know, in our behind the scenes when this video is released on how you could see them in real time using iterative AI. They were designing that eagle, and then I just gave Miriam's team a whole bunch of stills of it, and they turned it into this. So look at all those collectibles, you know. So I guess that we're almost at the end of it, but I do want to kind of take some time to wrap up, and each of us, if we could pass the mic back around, I'll get back into this formation. Yeah, let me stop sharing. Getting back our real estate. So I guess for Jadel, if I could let you close the show, I'll just kind of give my last words now, and just to reiterate, just, you know, start moving, start doing things, and you'll find some really cool people along the way. And then if you would like to see if you're watching this on the replay, we are keeping this Chatmosa open. That's the nice thing about Chatmosa, is that it becomes just its own little gallery for the week. So you can always hop in there, go to this QR code or chatmosa.com. So over to you, Miriam, and we'll let Jadel close us down.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I think I love watching people build cool stuff. So just like being here, watching you guys make this escape room, and this is where the magic happens. I feel like a lot of times today, a woman founder, Poppy, just got acquired for $1.9 billion by Pepsi. And a lot of times we see success stories once they're at that end. But I think how cool is this? This is the next big escape room elevator pitch training game happening in front of you guys, and this is going to be the next $1 billion idea, and
Yes.
it's being built in front of you, right? So I think this is just something so cool. So thank you for giving me the honor and privilege of being here. So thanks.
Awesome. Over
Yeah.
to you, Jadel.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for being here. It was really nice to meet you, Miriam. I want to connect. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn and all the other platforms. I think you already added me to X, so you're got quick fingers there. And yeah, Dan, this was really great to connect and kind of see everything that we've been building and put it together, but also come out with this other idea of achievements. And so
Oh
I just
yeah.
really want to, yeah, impress upon people that collaboration, even if it doesn't make sense at first, to just do it, say yes to it, say yes to the different opportunities, because it's people that you don't really know or understand that are going to push your imagination and your creativity. Dan and I I don't think that we really made sense even connecting the first time. And I just said yes because I wanted to collab. I wanted to experience what that was like, because I was still so new to it. And then here we are. And then I get to meet Miriam, who is like a girl after my own heart with video games. And so it's just, and Dan and I are creating something that, could, yeah, I mean, we don't even know. The sky's the limit. So yeah, I just really encourage that collaboration, being open to different conversations, and yeah, I've
Yeah.
learned so much, and I can't believe there's other people out in the world that are like me. So shocking to me.
That is a brilliant revelation. So thank you everyone for coming, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on the Now Show, where our guest is going to be Juan from the Doge community, and he's also a musician from Buenos Aires. So we'll hopefully see you then. And thank you, Jadel and Miriam, for this special episode. I just am beaming, probably inside and out, you can see, and very excited. So see you next time.